Hey guys, welcome back to Matthew's Ballistics. I'm pretty excited today. We're going to actually go and test the ULR 454 rounds again. This time we're not doing an accuracy test on these. I'm doing just purely a velocity test since I'm going up in powder charge. And I'll be documenting and looking at all the cases and making sure that there's no signs of too much pressure. So essentially what I've done when I've gone up in powder charge is I've seated the bullet out a little further and a little further with every increase in the powder charge, and that keeps the load from being compressed. Also, it basically, this is a 454 case, so basically the idea is like, if my rifle was chambered for 460, say, it uses a much longer case, and so it uses, or has a larger capacity for more powder without compressing the load. And though the 460 and the 454 Casull have very similar maximum operating pressures, so basically being able to shoot this out of a single shot rifle, I can extend this bullet out until it's just barely in the case and gives me a lot more case capacity for more powder. Now I don't know exactly what that's going to translate to as far as wear and tear on the barrel of the gun, but I don't shoot it all that much, so I'm just basically trying to get the most velocity that I can out of these rounds so that it'll, shoot a little flatter for a little further out. Once I really dial it in, get the velocity that I'm looking for, then we'll work on accuracy. And who knows, maybe my highest velocity rounds, which in most cases with reloading ammunition or ammunition in general, really high velocity rounds aren't necessarily the most accurate. They usually aren't the most accurate rounds. So, we're going to work up velocity until I start seeing signs of, really flat primers, or if I get a couple split cases, and then I'll back it down a little from there, and then we'll load some more at that charge level, whatever it may be, and we'll go and we'll do some accuracy testing. And then I may play with the bullet seating depth more or less. All of these rounds, I seated the bullet until it touched the powder, until I felt it touch the powder. So at 33 grains, I think the OAL on this is 2.50 inches. And then at the highest charge at 34.5 grains, it's 2.60 inches. So it's seated out just a little more every time. Because if I was to press it in there to the same depth as that one, that would be compressing the load, which is definitely going to increase pressures. Now, again, these are not crimped at all, not in the least bit. I didn't even try to, size the neck down just a little after I seated the bullet just to make it more uniform. I checked all of them. They all fit in the chamber perfectly fine. So not crimped at all, barely touching the powder based on feel, and yeah. So we're going to go and we're going to test these in a little bit out of the Browning ULR, or sorry, the Browning 1885 454 Casull. And then also I'm going to bring some hard cast rounds, and I believe these are 32.5 grains. And my goal for them is, which I'm going to shoot, I know you guys enjoy watching slow-mo recoil videos and that sort of thing, so I'm going to bring this, and we're going to shoot some of those out of it. gun's getting kind of tarnished. I need to work on that. It's because I left some brass cases sitting in it so long that the right on the back of the cylinder there, it's got some green tarnishing. But yeah, I'm gonna shoot this and get y'all some slow-mo video. I'm also planning on maybe a penetration test. I'm gonna set up a block of wood or a couple of blocks of wood. And I'm gonna shoot these into it, which are my 300 grain hard cast linotype alloy for those that want to know all the technical details. And then I'm also really curious about what these bullets do, because we've done, you know, accuracy testing, velocity testing with them, but we haven't done an actual like penetration test to see what they're supposed to perform like. Now, ideally, these are designed as a hunting round, and this machined aluminum tip, when it hits something, is supposed to get shoved back into the copper jacket of the bullet and expand the lead core, which what causes the base of the bullet to expand out. So we're going to see how that works. I'm going to shoot a couple of them into a couple blocks of wood, see if we can catch one, and then of course I'll split the wood open and retrieve the slug and see what it looks like, because I'm really curious about that as well. So, without any further, you know, ramblings on this, I'm going to get everything loaded up. We're going to go out to the designated testing facility, and we're going to test these rounds out and see how they do. Oh, and I'm also going to shoot a couple of these out of the Browning so we can check the differences in velocity, and I'll show you that from the revolver, which is a 6.5 inch barrel, to the Browning, which has a 28 inch barrel, and we'll show you the difference in velocity on these. Also, just out of pure curiosity, you notice that this revolver has a very long cylinder. It's because it is also chambered to shoot 410 shotgun shells, up to 3-inch 410 shotgun shells, which is fun to shoot out of it. But you know, unless you're shooting really close range, they're not. It's just, you know, kind of a fun thing to do if you want to shoot a snake in the field or a rat or something. But just out of pure curiosity, these are way too long to go in a normal 454 revolver. But this revolver has a very, very long cylinder. So, as you can see, and I believe these are a little over 2.6 inches long. And it fits and it doesn't stick up. So maybe in the future I will download some of these a little bit so I don't, you know, worry about blowing up a revolver in my hand. And we'll see if they stabilize out of this thing. It's got a much faster twist than the Browning. This is a 1 in 16 twist barrel on the rifling, and the Browning is a 1 in 24. So who knows? It might work out, might not, but that's what we're here for, is to find out. Of course, I'm not doing that today, and it'll be in a later video. Alright, so we're out here to test some more of my long range rounds for the 454 Casull, but to get a baseline on velocity for the chronograph, we're going to shoot a couple rounds through this Glock 48, just using some standard MagTech 115 grain FMJs. $11.29, 1086, 1105. Now I'm going to test some other lead cast 454 rounds, and we're going to do a comparison from the revolver to the 28-inch barrel on the rifle. I've got two, these are HSM bear loads. They're 325 grains. Now, these loads are pretty soft for 454 loads, so and then we're going to compare that to my loads, which are 300 grain. $15.42. Knock the target over. Now we're going to compare that to one of my loads, which is 300 grain hard cast, loaded over 32.5 grains of H110. (1,696 feet per second). Now I want to compare that same HSM bear load out of the rifle. It's got a 28-inch barrel. (1,923 feet per second). Now we're going to shoot one of my loads, one of the 300 grain hard cast. (2,054 feet per second). So as you can see, the extra length of the barrel gives it quite a bit more velocity, quite a bit more downrange energy. We're looking at about almost 400 feet per second difference from the 6.5-inch pistol barrel to the 28-inch rifle barrel. So now we've got our baseline down. We are going to start with the hotter loads. This is 33 grains of H110 with a 300 grain smokeless muzzleloader bullet. It's a .452 diameter, just the same as the 454 Casull, any of the lead cast rounds. So right now we're looking for more velocity. We got 3 rounds loaded at 33 grains. We're going to test those, and then we'll move up to 33.5. (2,062). Primer looks great. Another 33 grains. (2,124). Primer's still looking good. We got to go reset our target. We actually just split that block of wood. Alright guys, this is super cool. This is something I was wanting to show you. I was hoping I was going to be able to catch this. This is one of my 300 grain hard cast bullets after it hit that block of wood. I can tell it's mine because it's got a gas check on it. And the HSM loads don't have gas checks, but this is one of those 300 grain hunting loads, long range muzzle loading loads, and that is the aluminum tip from one. So you can tell it got pretty beat up when it hit that block of wood, but it totally just flattened out this bullet. Look at hard cast bullet versus that 300 grain aluminum tip bullet. Completely just flattened out and actually broke apart into several pieces. So yeah, that was just something I was hoping I was going to get to compare and show you guys. But we're going to get back to testing on these velocities. Alright, another 33 grain round. That one we got an error on, so we didn't catch the velocity on it. Brass is looking good. Primers are still looking good. So we're going up. 33.5 grains. Of course, I'm seating the bullets a little bit further out every time, so the loads aren't as compressed as, you know, as they would be if I had seated them all to the same depth. So 33.5 grains, H110, behind a 300 grain aluminum tip smokeless muzzleloading bullet. 2086. And we got one heck of a crack down there in our block of wood. Alright, another 33.5 grains. $21.17. Ejecting perfectly. No signs of overpressuring yet. 33.5 grains again. $2,071. And the brass is still looking great. I'm gonna go down here and fix our target. Alright, we're starting to get pretty spicy. This thing is starting to hurt the old shoulder, but we're gonna keep going. We're going up to 34 grains of powder now behind the same 300 grain bullet. This is well beyond book data. These bullets are seated out super long. The loads aren't compressed. These rounds are not to be fired in a revolver. We got an error on that one. Brass and primer are still good. $34 grains. $21.25. Kicking the shell out. Primer and brass are good. Last 34 grain load. And 2,120 feet per second. We're still ejecting perfectly good. And the brass looks good. The primer looks good. I'm going to go ahead and we're jumping up to 34.5 grains. These are the hottest ones I loaded. Don't know if I'm going to go much hotter. $21.50. And we got our first stuck case. It's not split, but man, it is, I think, yeah, looks like 34.5 grains is about the maximum. The primers are starting to flatten a little on these. $34.5. 2,090. That one still looks pretty good. Last one at 34.5 grains. $21.43. And if you can hear that steel ringing, you know that those rounds are going through that wood. That one was a little stuck, but yeah, the primers actually on these are still looking pretty good. Really surprising. Woo! Man, that barrel's hot. I thought I'd bring you guys down here with me and you can kind of see the up close destruction of this oak board, or this oak stump. See where the rounds went in there and just totally annihilated out of the back. It looks like we caught a couple there. There's one there. Sweet. There's a jacket. I don't know if I'll be able to pull that out, but it's kind of just sitting there. This block of wood looks like there's the base of one stuck right there in the back of it. I might dig that out here in a little bit. I don't know. Here's some aluminum tips off of those, all gnarled up. Found some more. And there's a bullet. That's a big heavy one in the dirt. Don't know if that's from today or if that was from a different time shooting. That looks like a 9mm hollow point casing. Here's some other where the bullets went in there, and you can see how thick it went through from there, and they were stopping here. That's about, I'm going to say that's about probably close to 6 inches of wood, of just solid oak. I only mention that it's oak because oak is a very dense wood. So now I'm going to do you a couple slow motion comparisons. This is a Glock 48. I actually don't think I've had this on the channel. I bought this gun about 6 months ago for an everyday carry gun. Haven't shot it all that much, but I'm going to load it up with some 115 grain 9mm. We'll do a couple of slow motion shots, and then we'll step it up and we'll send some of these 300 grain bullets out of the 454 Casull. Alright guys, I really hope y'all enjoyed that. I'm still developing loads for this gun, but I think about 2150 probably is about as fast as I'm going to get these loads out of this 28-inch barrel. It just seems that even going up to from 33 grains all the way to 34.5 grains, that my velocity only came up about 50 feet per second or so, maybe 70-ish. So getting and just adding more powder to it clearly is not lending me or getting me any more advantage as far as velocity increase goes. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this, and I hope y'all enjoyed that slow-mo bit there at the end. I gotta get in there and edit and clean that footage up, but I think it's pretty freaking awesome. As you can tell, this thing packs a ton of energy, both even in the handgun and the rifle. You see what it did to that oak stump down there, and that stump was about 16 inches across, about a foot across, or a little over a foot across, sorry. And it just friggin' just blew it apart. So for like a comparison, out of the handgun, those rounds at about 1700 feet per second are packing, I want to say, about 1900 foot-pounds, 1850, 1900, somewhere in there. And then at 2150 out of the rifle, we're looking actually like another 400 feet per second, 450 feet per second faster. That actually increased the energy output by probably about 1,000 foot-pounds. We're talking 2,800 foot-pounds out of the rifle. So very, very potent round. Downrange, and like compared to a 9mm that you're getting, you know, maybe 400 foot-pounds of energy out of at the most, usually about 350. So yeah, lots of powder, lots and lots of recoil, tons of fun, literal tons of fun. So I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you next time in the next video. See you later.